Okay,
Wait, are we on? I don't know if we're ready for these guys. We're good?
I'd like to call the Missouri Western State University Board of Governors meeting to order. And the first item of business is to welcome Missouri Western State University student Garrett Jackson, who was confirmed as the newest student governor on April 27th, 2023. And it's my pleasure to welcome to our board meeting the Fifth Judicial Circuit Court Judge Dan Kellogg, who will administer the oath of office to Mr. Jackson.
Garrett, I know you probably, some of the other people here know you, but you have some family members here if you'd like to introduce.
Yes, my mom, Siobhan Jackson, and my wife, Raven Jackson.
Yeah. Raise your right hand, please. I, Garrett Jackson,
I, Garrett Jackson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and I will faithfully demean myself
and I will faithfully demean myself
as a member of the Board of Governors
as a member of the Board of Governors
for Missouri Western State University
for Missouri Western State University
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, I'll sign on this line. You'll sign that. Here.
Everything in.
Okay. And you can say hello or goodbye to your guests. They're welcome to stay. And I'll read the book. Okay.
Thank you, Judge Kellogg,
Thank you.
and let me be the first to welcome student governor Jackson. The next item of business is to approve the meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the April 27th, 2023 board meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Do I have a motion to ratify the June 8th, 2023 phone call for the CTAC building?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passed. We will now hear the Personnel, Finance and Operations Committee report. Governor Landis.
Okay. Well, likewise, do I have a motion to approve the Personnel, Finance and Operation Committee meetings from April 27th?
Moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Therefore, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No move. Okay, continuing on.
Go right ahead.
The Missouri Western State University Personnel Finance Operations Committee met earlier today. And I will turn it over to I know it says interim VT, Ron Olinger.
Thank you, Governor Landis. I'd like to give you a financial, see if I can get this to work. There we go. Nope. All right, I'd like to give you a financial update on the university for the first 11 months of our fiscal year. The detailed financial statements are in your board book or on your new computers. So operating revenues at 95.8% of our revised budget. Tuition and fees are at 99.2%. And that appears to be where we'll end up the year. We're running a little short of anticipated revenues for housing. However, we still have some summer and vacation revenues yet to be posted in June. And our food service is right on target. Our bookstore revenue, third and fourth quarter payments have not yet been received, and we expect to meet our target budget by the end of June. Our auxiliary other is primarily camps and conferences, and we should be able to meet our target budget by the end of June. An operating expense area, operating expenses are slightly favorable at 86.5% of our revised budget with 1 month remaining in the year. We should be at about 91.7%. So we're doing a little good there. Salaries and compensation are at 86% due to open positions. And we also have some faculty salaries that have to be paid out yet for the remainder of the fiscal year. Fringe benefits are expected to meet revised budget. This does not include the $490,000 reduction in retirement costs rebated by the state legislature. Supplies and services are tracking a little bit lower than our revised budget right now, but there are many year-end purchases going on in the last month of the year, and we may have some slight savings here by the end of the fiscal year. Travel is tracking right in line with where it should be through May. Our utilities are a little lower than planned at this time. We're hopeful we may have some savings here come June 30th. Our insurance is right on target with the revised budget for May, and scholarships are sitting at 90.5%. However, financial aid still has some awards that they'll pay out in June, as well as some adjustments to Pell. We expect to be right on our revised budget at the end of the year. In our non-operating revenues, the state appropriations are right at 91.7% where they should be. In our grants, SEOG and Pell funds still need to be requested. This normally takes place in mid-June, and so we're expecting we'll receive those revenues. Investment income and interest on capital related debt are expected to meet our revised budget. And our Mosers reimbursement from the state is around $40,000 per month, and as of May 31st, we still have May and June to collect. So we should hit our revised budget of $490,000. For the first 11 months of our fiscal year, we show a positive bottom line of $1.9 million. However, we anticipate we will make a revised budget for the fiscal year, of course, which is a balanced budget of 0. So finally, our cash position at the end of March is 11.7 million. This is about 2 million less than what it was a year ago at this time. And the difference is primarily that, a year ago and 2 years ago, we had a lot of HERF funds provided to the university to help offset expenses during COVID and for capital and scholarship use. So are there any questions or comments regarding the financials? All right, hearing none. I would ask for a motion to approve the financial statements.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We'll now hear division reports from the vice presidents and other cabinet members. Dr. Laurel Reynolds, you're up.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Not sure about seeing myself while I'm standing here, so I'm gonna have to work on that in a minute. So thank you so much. Glad to be here. Glad to discuss academic affairs with you all today. Wanted to start by recognizing we had the passing of a faculty member. So Dr. Yipke Kwok passed away in June, on June 6th after a lengthy illness. So I wanted to take a moment and mention him and his good work as an assistant professor in computer science and There was a great showing from Missouri Western at his services, which was wonderful, included faculty and staff, and maybe most importantly, students, which was really remarkable. A couple of his advisees came and spoke about how he had been such a positive influence in their lives and been encouraging, and he was that kind of colleague. So it's one of those things where he was an exemplary faculty member, but he also exemplifies the kind of faculty we have here at the university and the staff and the dedication we have. So I want to take a minute. It's one of the sadder things that a provost gets to do, but also I wanted to point out the things he brought to the university and to its students. The other happier thing that a provost gets to do is always gets to bring to the board recommendations for promotion and tenure and for promotion. So those are in the packet today, and you'll see 16 individuals that have met all the standards and requirements of their departments and the faculty, and that are doing excellent work here with our students, and that I am most pleased to make those recommendations to you. So I'm pleased with those recommendations and proud for those colleagues today. Some business and some things to keep you updated on. Talking a minute about the summer schedule. Ron mentioned briefly a bit about the summer schedule. We have spent I've been here about a year, almost exactly clocked a year on my mileage now. And I will tell you that the schedule is working so efficiently now. I'm really pleased. Our summer schedule has folded out nicely. It is bare bones. We're offering about 33.5% fewer sections. We're serving a little over 400 fewer students, but at a cost savings. And while that may cause you a minute of concern, one of the things we're doing is we're driving enrollment to the major semesters where faculty are under contract and where we really have the bandwidth to serve them in a full way. We're also maintaining, though, in the summers, the internships and those sort of important things to make sure progression continues for our students, and our students have the opportunity to retake courses that they may have struggled with, that they can address needs and gaps in their program. So we're being very mindful about that, and it's worked exceptionally well. Additionally, this summer, we're also, the registrar's office, as a part of academic affairs now, is monitoring the courses that are transferred into the institution after the summer. So we're going to kind of take a look at those and see maybe we had some opportunities to offer classes that our students had to go outside of the institution. So then going to try and fold those in and include those in the next summer. So really using that as an opportunity as well. But there is some instructional cost savings that we will recognize from the smoother summer schedule. One thing that I'm really pleased about is that we haven't had to cancel any classes. And when you don't have to cancel classes, it's like any business. That means you hit plumb. You did pretty well in your estimate. And so I'm pleased with that. As we move on to fall and thinking about our incoming classes, Go, I cannot tell you how fired up we are about Go. The Griffin orientation has gone exceedingly well. I'm so pleased. Academic Affairs has the Center for Academic Support, student advising and student success, as well as the registrar partnered with Becky's crew. It has been just wonderful experience. The faculty have been engaged in the advising. We have facilitated some more standardized and structured slides for our students. The parent and family interactions has been great. We have about 413, I think, students registered that we have served already in Go. And what I will tell you is that we have about an 80% show rate. An 80% show rate is somebody who's standing on our third campus. They're in a campus in the country that wouldn't love that. That's good. And then that 20%, we're constantly working to weave them back in, right? Make sure that we catch them, because people get sick, people go on vacation, that happens, right? So we'll really work on that fall through, but that is just excellent. It's a wonderful sign. Monitoring how many credits they're registered for, are their schedules set, going, kind of constantly doubling back, running the trap lines. And that's a part of what advising is doing, and the advisors and the staff are doing a wonderful job with that. Very pleased with that. That leads us into the fall, though. So one of the pros and cons, right, of having a good, robust Go and really seeing some freshmen lift, right, and seeing those freshmen here, is that this is a really good indication of what freshman need is going to look like going forward. And our freshmen, what we're watching them come in with is we're getting a little larger percentage of students that qualify as pathway students, those students that are a little more challenged, right? But what we're really seeing is within that bandwidth of pathway students, a growing percentage of students that are coming in with a lower high school GPA. Right. And that doesn't surprise anyone nationwide after COVID. You know, we're all sort of ready for that kind of thing. But what it does is it changes the recipe in terms of what classes we have to have set up. And this is the first time we've sort of fielded these students. The fall schedule, the way we do scheduling here now is we put courses in our pockets. Right? We don't show them right away, right? We kind of put our cards up our sleeves and we offer a certain mix of classes. And then as they fill, we roll out very purposefully sections and modalities as student need evolves. In the fall, what you're going to see as governors is you're going to see a lower enrollment in 300 and 400 level classes, which we expect because that's that last little bit of COVID. And then we have these freshmen coming in. So now we're going to have to shift some faculty load in order to do that over the summer or over the 2 semesters, you know, so you may teach 5 in one semester and 3 in another. We're going to have to do some of that. And the faculty are on board. A part of this, though, is also that we're going to have to offer increased supports for these students. And we know that. So, and we also know that there's no one silver bullet. There's no one thing that's going to solve any problem. So what Academic Affairs has partnered with Student Center for Academic Support, advising student success and the faculty to offer 2 different programs. One is a scaffolded bridge program to get folks in pathways ready to be freshmen, give them a little extra fuel. Right? Little extra insight. And then we're going to start a pilot program called FIRST, which you've seen in your board books and in the updates. It's really going to offer clusters of students who have been identified, some extra supports in the classes that they're in. We're going to essentially pipe in some University 101 and some extra supplemental supports around writing, mathematics, things like that. And the faculty are partnered all summer working on this. The thing that's really interesting is I will tell you the interest in and the go and the new students coming in, the faculty and staff involvement in getting this up and running and serving these students has really been remarkable. So all summer we're holding Spark sessions, which talk about curriculum processes here on campus. Folks are coming to them, brainstorming, and we have a couple departments that are engaging in curricular review that hasn't happened in probably 6 or 7 years to really look at student access and how students can move through the programs. What do our articulation agreements look like? Are they up to date? A lot of that housekeeping that I think over 2 or 3 years and over COVID just didn't get done. And so my belief is that will really help then as we get these new freshmen in. So that's what I have for you today. Glad to answer any questions.
Thank you,
All right.
Dr.
Thank you.
That was very good news. Next will be the enrollment management and marketing and communications. Becky Dunn.
Hello.
Hi.
I also have a presentation, so we'll wait for that to come up. Okay, very good. So I'll start with a recruitment update for fall. Featured here on the presentation are our summer Griffin orientation leaders. And so these are students who are working with our new students and families and helping us conduct our orientation sessions. And working with these students is by far the highlight of my summer. We're having a lot of fun. They're wonderful leaders. They're quick on their feet and they're exquisite ambassadors for Missouri Western. So they're doing a fantastic job. So I want to share a little bit about what is happening with our fall enrollment. And you have some numbers in my board report, and I've updated information here yesterday. And so as we look at our admits heading into the fall, this divides them by territory. And I've labeled the 2023 numbers so that you can see there. We are down 4% with our admits for fall. And so this shows you can see that there are some territories where certainly we're down, but there are also 3 territories where we're up. So in Buchanan County, Northern Missouri and Southern Missouri, we have an increase there compared to previous years. When we look at those numbers, we're obviously working with students who are applying. We're working with students who are in the middle and need to complete the application, encouraging them to take the next step so that they can be admitted, and then encouraging those students to move forward and sign up to attend Griffin orientation. As we look at our top counties, you can see Andrew, Buchanan, Clay, Jackson, Platte, and St. Louis. And again, I've got the numbers labeled for 2023. There's been a nice increase steadily in Buchanan County. And so that's important. We want to have a strong showing there locally. And then working to see what strategies that we can put in place, certainly to increase with those other counties. So you heard the good news that our attendance, our show rate is about 80% for Griffin orientation, which is fantastic. The other good news is that our attendance with these first 5 orientation sessions is up 12.5% compared to the first 5 last year. So we have more students who are showing up. So that is impressive. And it's a result of the hard work of the admissions team to follow up with students. We're sending out confirmations and reminders, phone calls, emails, text messages to students and families, and really trying to help mobilize everyone to follow through and attend Griffin orientation. We've also revamped Griffin orientation a little bit, trying to make some improvements. We have 2 students who just graduated in May who are working with us as Griffin orientation coordinators, Taylor Edwards and Lauren Bloodgood, and they are amazing and have brought so much enthusiasm, experience, and knowledge from their past experience working as student orientation leaders. And it's been really fun to see them lead and connect with our students and families at Griffin orientation. We've also made a few tweaks to some of our programming. And one of the elements I'm very excited and proud about is our parent-to-parent panel. And so we've invited experienced Griffin parents to be on a panel and answer questions from our new parents. We opened it up to faculty and staff and have had a number of faculty and staff serve on our panel and answer questions. And then also we've invited incoming students, parents who had a student previously or currently attend Missouri Western to serve on the panel. So it's been a lot of fun, and parents asking other parents questions is always a good thing. And the students aren't in the room, so they can't get embarrassed. So it's worked out really well, and that has been a lot of fun. We've also just identified some bottlenecks, to make the day flow more smoothly. And so we're trying to make those small adjustments so that it's a really positive experience for everyone. Right now, we're conducting an online orientation as we speak, and that's gone very well so far. So we're excited to have a lot of options for students to transition to Missouri Western. We have 5 more Griffin orientation sessions in June and July that are already planned. We might unfold another online session for transfer students, and then we'll have 3 opportunities in August to help students orient to Missouri Western. So we'll keep working through that process. So as we think about next steps, we think about what we're going to do in July and August, especially. And you've heard us talk about MELT. And so this is really trying to engage with students, help them connect to Missouri Western, to feel that they have a support system, to help instill confidence that they've made a good choice for their post-secondary education, to help them feel like they can get the support that they need to be successful. And so one of the ways that we do that is through Griffin orientation. That's a huge part of it. Having them here, helping them register for classes, meet their advisors, all of that is a part. We also have communication campaigns that we've launched. We have some new communication that's going out to parents this year. And so we think that will be really important. At Griffin orientation, we invite our parents to sign up for our family newsletter, and 172 have signed up so far. We've only had 5 orientations, so that's pretty exciting. We also ask our students to stay connected with us on social media and follow First Year Griffs, which is a special Instagram account. We have over 5% increase in followers just since we started with Griffin orientation. So really starting to make those connections really, really critical. After a student attends Griffin orientation, they'll receive a thank you and a survey, a postcard from their student leader. And then a couple days later, they'll receive a bucket hat. Super excited. I can't wait to get mine. And then we're also communicating with them about what's next. And so helping them know that we have a plan, that we have a lot of things in place to help them succeed at Missouri Western, and having this campaign to communicate with them. We're also working on staffing. So I'm excited that we have two important hires that we've made. One is Katie Jenkins, and she's mentioned in my report. She's our new Assistant Director of Admissions for orientation and campus visits. And so she began with us at the 1st of June and is learning and observing and already contributing in a significant way to make Griffin orientation successful. We've also hired an Assistant Vice President of Enrollment Management, Dr. Jeffrey Foote, and he'll begin July 3rd. So two critical hires, very excited to have them join the team. We still have some other full-time vacancies that we're trying to fill. And then we're also still hiring students to work with our Griffin Edge extended orientation program in August. So staffing, very important. And then planning, we're collaborating with faculty and staff to conduct our Griffin orientation and also Griffin Edge programs. We need everyone. And so this campus has really risen to the occasion and really are doing a fantastic job to serve all of those students and families. So everyone from Kevin in tech support, who I email every day, and Brian, who I text every day and say, come here. It's all coming together. And so very, very pleased, could not do this without everyone's support. So I'll leave this slide up, but I'll transition into just a few comments from my written report. So you'll see there some information about the marketing and communications team. And so as we look at project requests that we're processing from April through May, 272 project request forms have come in, and that's about 6.5 projects a day. So it has slowed down a little bit, which we can appreciate. The departments that we're working with most frequently are admissions and athletics, the registrar's office, and the foundation. One thing I'll point out is that our TikTok video views has really skyrocketed. So our new digital marketing coordinator, Alora, is doing an amazing job and has really stepped up our content on TikTok. And so we went from just over 9,000 views in my last report to over 32,000 views in this report. So the important part for you to take note is that we're where the students are. And so we're getting our content out there and it's engaging and people are following. You'll also note SmugMug, which is our photo sharing site, continues to perform well. We more than doubled the number of views from my last report to this report. So very significant. Again, people like to see their photos, and we have a lot of photos from Griffin orientation, so you can check those out and see what's happening. We've been partnering with the Department of Education on a special grant that they received so that we're doing some marketing to promote teacher preparation. And we have a lot of ads that are currently out promoting those efforts, and they're performing very well, especially our Masters in Teaching and our Teaching English the Second, TESOL. I won't try to tell you what that stands for, but the ad is doing really well. So that's all very, very good news. We're finally, the marketing team is working with admissions to create the next cycle of recruitment materials. And so that is a big summer project, and we're knee deep in that, and plan to get that out to the printer in July, ready to go for the next recruitment season in the fall. And with that, I'll pause for any questions.
Can you go back to the graph? I don't care which one, because they should be the same total, right? That one or the last one, right? So same numbers. But in the marketing section, it talks about 768 people have signed up for Griffin orientation. Are those is that the same group of people or totally different?
So these graphs are showing you admits by county, not the number of students who've signed up for Griffin orientation.
So you could be admitted and not come to orientation? Or you come to orientation and not be admitted, or both?
No.
Okay.
You are invited to sign up for Griffin orientation once you're admitted, and then we continue to work those admitted students to sign up.
Okay.
And so there are admitted students who have not signed up yet. We did have a student come to Griffin orientation last week who had not even applied, but by the end of the day, he was registered.
That's good. What percent normally come to orientation that get admitted, and then is it like the funnel or no? So,
That's a good question. I would have to go back and try to look at that. Last year, I can tell you that 750 students attended Griffin orientation.
okay.
And so far we have 413. And again, we're only, barely halfway through.
And how many were admitted of last year? You probably don't have all those in your head.
I do not, but I can look that
I
up.
think that would be, remember,
Melissa?
thank you. Melissa was always, well, not always, but she talked about the funnel.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's a pretty
Yeah.
standard business
So-
thing, so I think it would be interesting to, I would have bet from what you're showing, I can't say it's for sure true, but we should know that that funnel's getting better, which in business, I'm not for sure it's true in academics, but in business, when the funnel starts getting better, the big picture slowly gets better, but there's a known correlation, so you can say, okay, well, revenue isn't going up yet.
But
But
it's, yeah,
it will, and I mean, it's not just a guessing game.
right.
And it might be different. I'm not suggesting it's the same, but I think it would be good for us to know because it could also be comforting.
Right. So one number we look at has to do with the yield rate. Once we have people that have applied, been confirmed and attended go. And so I think Melissa gave us a lot of information about that. So it's about 22 to 24%. And then I think the numbers that we're working on that we didn't get last year were we had a total number of students who came to go, but it was tricky to pin down the number of unique students attending each day. So say if you were signed up for one day and you said, I can't come, you weren't necessarily backed out as a unique, you know what I mean? So we're working on some of those because what we want to get with that is be able to predict by X day, we have these number of people coming. How much more is it going to increase as we have our Go registrations continue? So we're working on that this time to kind of nail that down.
And actually, I misspoke. Last year, 650 students attended Griffin orientation, not 750.
Any other questions? Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Okay, I've been told I can close the screen.
Okay. Next, we'll have a report by Mr. Chris Dunn on student affairs.
Good afternoon, governors. It is a pleasure to be before you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present. And I mentioned last time, I appreciate your service and I continue to appreciate your service and leadership over the university. I have a brief report for you today. No fun slides, but a brief report. I am near the end of my second month as the interim dean of students, and that is the capacity with which I stand before you today. And it is a broad, an unusual job, but I am glad to be doing it for this time. One, because there's a need to do it, but two, because it is helping me become a better chief of staff, to learn about this part of the house of the university. And it is also a treat to be able to work with the team that we have in student affairs, and also to interact with students as often as I get to do in this capacity. It won't be hard for you to remember back to your days in college and think about how much enthusiasm you had, how much energy you had, and how that can rub off on the people around you. So I feel fortunate in that regard. I'm going to start today with the Center for Student Involvement. It's one of the 6 or 7 divisions under student affairs. And that office is led by Director Josh Clary. I just wanted to highlight him for a second this afternoon, because since I last spoke to you, he's become Dr. Josh Clary, receiving his doctorate in higher education administration from Southern Mississippi. And so we're glad that he now has a new title. He has the same role. And even in the days that I've worked with him, I see his great value to the university, and I love the way that he interacts with students. So at the end of the academic year, he had to prepare a report related to fraternities and sororities. And I mentioned that in my report to you all because maybe it doesn't get talked about enough, our fraternities and sororities. But we have several fraternities and sororities on campus, and they are graded, and those grades are submitted to the local chapter and to the national organizations. And at Missouri Western, the collective GPA for all of the active organizations that we have was 3.0 or higher, and that's consistent with previous years. And I'm glad to report that to you. Dr. Clary's work with helping build Max Engage, which is a program, which is a software system that our students use. There's an app on their phone, it helps them stay to their stay tied to their student organizations and activities, and it helps generate reports related to student affairs. He helped build that last summer, and he doesn't have to do that this summer. So it's freed him up to prepare well for the fall. And he already has Griffin Welcome Week planned, and there's still a lot of details to be resolved, but he's working with students to have that planned, as well as the next couple of weeks of our fall semester. So I'm grateful that he has one thing off of his plate and is able to concentrate on other things. Dr. Clary is also helping the dean's office prepare for Family Day events, which take place on September 23rd. And I've put a postcard at your chair so that you can tell all your friends and neighbors to come to Family Day. We will have a lot of engaging activities on that day. And we already have, as I've heard reports from orientation, we have a lot of parents that are already excited to get back here after their student has been here a month or so. So I'm excited about that and appreciate Dr. Clary's help. In addition to Family Day on September 23rd, the following week will be homecoming week. And I just wanted to put on your calendars that the homecoming game will be on September 30th. Next, I want to talk about the counseling center. I talked about it a little bit in my last report, but after the conclusion of the spring semester, we have some new numbers. And they had two big goals this year. The counseling center did. One was for student counseling appointments for the attendance rate to improve, and vice versa, on the other side of the coin, see the no-show rate decline. And both of those things happened. Counseling appointments were up 13% this year, and no-shows were reduced by 43% this year. And that is good, because once you fill a slot for an appointment, nobody else can have that appointment. And if you don't show up, somebody else doesn't get an opportunity for counseling. And so reducing that no-show rate was a big deal. And the reason we see a big reduction in the no-show rate is because of phones. Texting them reminders of their appointments was not something that we've done in the past, but it has helped the counseling center improve services and reduce and increase the number of appointments available. So that's a good thing. I also want to mention that 238 students were served by the counseling center this year. And that's more than 238. And that's a strong number and kind of reflects the need. And these are primarily students who kind of self-identify that I need to go in and get a little bit of help. And we want students to do that if they feel like they need services. And so that's one reason why the counseling center exists. And Katie Myron, the director of the counseling center, wants everybody to know that the counseling center sees clients throughout the summer. So if you see a need, don't hesitate to refer a student to the counseling center located in Eder Hall. A couple more brief things. The Department of Housing and Residence Life is, I wanted to give you some updated numbers from the last report. We have currently, as of Tuesday, we have 351 new students that have applied to live in our dormitories for the summer. And we have 268 renewals. So students that are coming back to the dorms, and both of those numbers are up. If you add those two numbers together, we have 619 students that want to return or live in the dorms for the first time. And that is up 92 over this same week last year. And that's a good sign. It kind of, you're seeing a theme here where orientation numbers are up, application numbers are up, and our housing numbers are up. And I don't anticipate, there'll be a peak number that we reach, but I continue to think that we'll be 80 to 100 above where we were when we started the fall semester in August of 2022. So that is encouraging news. The Department of Housing and Residence Life is currently drafting a strategic plan. They like to be organized there. And they are working to update the Resident Assistance Handbook. So we have a high quality team of students that serve as residence assistants to help the new students and students that are returning to the dorms. And we want to help them out, do things a little bit better, improve their processes, improve morale over there. So we're updating the student handbook, and they will get that handbook when they have training in August. This week, we have approximately 60 young football players and coaches on campus using our facilities and staying in our dorms. They'll be here through Saturday, and they are tied to 8-man football programs across Northwest Missouri. You'll know a lot about 8-man football. Governor Schoonover. You probably know more than most people about 8-man football.
We're just going through a playbook yesterday. Found.
The Chiefs are coming. You may have heard about that. And so Scanlon and Vasilakos Halls are in preparations. Scanlon gets the coaches and the students, and Vasilakos gets a lot of the Chiefs administrators and the interns. And so we're excited for them to be back on campus, and Res Life is trying to make things comfortable for them when they come next month. The last thing I want to report to you is the SRE Student Health Center, which is located in this building, has been under the supervision of Dr. Crystal Harris for the last couple of years since COVID started. And you may remember that she was in charge of a COVID response team. And so Dr. Kennedy smartly put the health center under a nurse practitioner, which was a good thing. With the pandemic subsided and Dr. Harris's retirement, Dr. Kennedy felt it was time to bring the health center back under student affairs, and that happened last week. And they are now reporting to the Dean of Students office once again. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Otherwise, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you all.
We'll now hear from our new student governor, Mr. Garrett Jackson.
Thank you. I'm very excited to begin my role as student governor and to introduce myself once again. I'm Garrett Jackson. I am a senior on track to graduate in May of 2024. I'm going to graduate with a bachelor's degree in construction engineering technology and a minor in general business. And I do plan on staying here to earn an MBA. So I'm excited for that. I want to say that I plan on working diligently with SGA, the Student Government Association, so that we can cooperate together and just be the best voice of the students that we can be together. I need help doing that job. That's a big role to fill. I mean, you're a university serving students, so that's a large job to fill. So I plan on working diligently with them. And I will say that I think it's in good hands with Israel Lovins and Blake Goforth. So that's exciting. Speaking on behalf of the students, I think we're all very excited and very happy with the summer break. It's been a good resting and relaxation time. I can say that on my own behalf. I will say, even with the summer break, SGA is at work, and especially with Go and the team doing that. SGA is just generally planning to get ahead of the fall semester so that the fall program, as far as SGA is concerned, is taken care of and planned, and that it makes an easier transition. I'm more than happy to meet with any students who would like to meet. If you want to contact me, you can do so at my email at gjackson7@missouriwestern.edu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Garrett. We'll now hear from our president, President Kennedy.
Great. Well, thank you, Chair Eberswald and Vice Chair Schoonover, and good afternoon to all the governors. Yes, as we've heard, the Chiefs are coming. And do you know how you tell the Chiefs are coming? All of a sudden you see lots of golf carts on campus. And then all of a sudden you see lots of people in red shirts driving the golf carts on campus. So as we all prepare for that, I just want to take a moment to thank both the city of St. Joseph and Buchanan County for their continued support of the Chiefs Summer Camp, as well as for our staff and folks who'll be working on it. And as we always say, this may not be a money-making event for Missouri Western, but we are so very proud to host this event because it brings a positive spotlight to our beautiful city and to the Northwest Missouri region. And it also brings wonderful attention to our campus, in addition to providing entertainment to our residents. So hosting the Chiefs Camp is really great. We get visitors from all over the country and sometimes from other countries. And just a note for governors, if you have not made your annual pilgrimage to the Rally House, just remember that they are moving out of East Hill Malls and going to the North Shops at the end of June. So just get ready for that. As we've heard about fall enrollment, I do want to take a moment to thank Becky Dunn and Provost Laura Reynolds, as well as all the other staff involved with GO. It has been tremendous this year. The excitement, you've looked at some still pictures, but I hope you've recognized how energetic and how exciting. And I will say Taylor and Lauren was involved with ASG last year. They're both just really doing a great job. So I'm very thrilled with how that's going. And of course, we'll keep an eye on our fall enrollment as that progresses. Since our athletic director, Andy Carter, is not able to join us, I thought governors might like to hear some of the exceptional data related to our student athletes' performances, both on and off the courts. For example, in terms of volunteer experience, I am very pleased to report that our student athletes completed 3,868 hours of community service this academic year, which is about 79 more than last year. That's a lot of service hours. And if we look at their academics, the overall athletics fall GPA was 3.299, which was higher than fall of 21. And our overall spring GPA was 3.2, which again was higher than spring of 2022. The overall GPA, academic year GPA, was 3.2, which is higher than the 2022, and the cumulative GPA was 3.274, which was also higher than spring of 22. The highest in terms of GPA for athletics women's team was tennis with a 3.8, pretty darn outstanding, and the highest men's GPA was men's golf with a 3.276. Again, exceptional performances. We're very proud of our student athletes, the coaches and the staff who support and mentor these students. I'd like to also provide the board with some status of some searches. As you know, we have hired the Dean of the College of Business and Professional Studies. We've sent notices out and we've made that announcement in the paper. We will be welcoming Ms. Mandy Albrecht. She is currently serving as the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Academics for the College of Engineering and Science. And she's also an Associate Professor, Educator of Construction Management at the University of Cincinnati. Mandy and her husband were out a couple of weeks ago doing some house hunting in St. Joe. So far I am 10 for 10 in relocating folks to St. Joe. So I'm pretty proud of that. But she will be starting with us on August 14th, and we are eager to have her join our team. In terms of the search for the Vice President for Finance and Administration, Whit Kiefer, our search firm, has been working with our search committee. They are narrowing the candidate pool, and we hope that they will be conducting semi-finalist Zoom interviews on June 29th and 30th. So we're excited about that. I'll update governors as that proceeds, but I also want to give a big shout out and thank you to Ron Ollinger, who's still here and serving as our interim vice president. I appreciate that. I also want to point out to governors that we do have a new commander of our law enforcement academy here at Missouri Western, Mr. Lonnie Bishop. He's a veteran of the Buchanan County Sheriff's Department. He's leading our law enforcement academy, and he started with us on June 16th. He has a solid background in law enforcement. He was an investigator for the Buchanan County Sheriff Department since 2014, and he's also been a part-time instructor for us in the academy. I thought you governors might find it interesting to get an update regarding our city and our county fundings, the ARPA money that we received for the Grow Your Own training grants. Here's some highlights. Since spring of 2022, when the funding was first available to present, we've had approximately 70 cadets graduate through 3 full-time academies or 2 part-time academies. That is significantly higher than previous. And approximately of those, 25% of the cadets who graduated were supported by an ARPA grant, the money that we got paid for them to go to the law enforcement. And of those individuals, 70% were hired by the St. Joseph Police Department and 30% were hired by the Buchanan County Sheriff's Office. So that is just excellent. We've been working very closely with the St. Joseph Police Department, Sheriff Pruitt, and making sure that we're helping to fill those workforce needs in terms of our law enforcement employees. At this time too, I just would love to give a special shout out to Trenny Wilson. She's our Assistant Chief of Police here at Missouri Western State University. She was very willing to step in and pick up the reins of the Law Enforcement Academy following the death of Commander King. And she's continuing to help Commander Bishop now in his new role. Trini has done a remarkable job. She's been a pleasure to work with. She's just really kept things moving forward, particularly since we had a full academy to get going this spring. And I've just really enjoyed working with her. So I just want to say thank you. And by the way, our next class starts July 10th. So we're looking forward to that. Also wanted to give governors an update on Varda Beatty and Hall. The reconstruction has been complete. Everybody's moved in. I just want to say I greatly appreciate the efforts of our AVP and Director Brian Atkins, physical plant staff, and Mark White to ensure that summer use of the hall was available. And I really appreciate that. And then finally, I thought we would talk a little bit about my efforts to connect with our community. I often state my part of the community engagement section of my report by my efforts to infuse Missouri Western into a community, to engage, re-engage, repair, build, seek out opportunities to connect with a host of individuals so as to promote the university in every way possible or ongoing. Well, today, governors, I have some tangible evidence to provide you that these efforts are paying off. So if you could cue up the PowerPoint for me, please. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the St. Joseph Community Survey. This is a survey that's been conducted in St. Joseph for over 10 years. They do it every 2 years. This particular year that was done, 2023, they had 605 respondents. There's a 95% confidence level with the 4 plus or minus margin of error, and they use Likert scale responses. So this is just a sample of the letter that was sent to the residents this was mailed to over 2,000 residents. And this is an example of what some of the survey questions look like. So you can see that. So I decided to share some highlights. So this says for question 32, the importance of goals of the Imagine St. Joseph 2040. I think this is important because as you see, the top bar says investing in people education, and you can clearly see that 84% of the people who responded to this said that investing in people and education is important. Prosperity comes in second, and creating a better place to live. Those, again, are the goals of the Imagine 2040 plan, but you can see that the community at large finds education to be very important. The next slide, reasons for choosing to live in St. Joseph Buchanan County. This one might be a little bit hard to see. So there's reasons that people ranked in terms of a 4-point scale, very important to not important, and saying what's important to living in St. Joseph and Buchanan County. If you go down to a little bit below the midline, you'll see there is a line there that says access to higher education, college. That number says that 84% of the respondents find that access to college is important, either very or somewhat, for living in St. Joseph and Buchanan County. I think that's an important statement because it backs up what people were saying, that access to education is important. I also want to point out to you the last item there, living in a community with a university. Now, this is a new item for the survey. They've not asked it before, and it may look like it's very small, but notice 66% of the individuals indicate that living in a community with a university is important. That's a good number. The next one is agreement with the following statements, right? Private schools are moving in the right direction is the top one. The second one says Missouri Western is moving in the right direction. You'll notice that The percentage here is 42% of those individuals say that they agree or strongly disagree. It might be interesting to say, what did people say in the past? Well, let me show you. This is a slide that I put together from the last survey and then put in this times percentages. So if you look at Missouri Western is moving in the right direction. The pink line is from 2016, the gray line is from 2018, the purplish line is from 2021, and then the gold line is from 2023. So you can see in 2018, that was the high watermark, and you can see what happened in 2021 after retrenchment, after program eliminations, after staff reductions in force, and those kinds of things. But again, as I always point out to governors, we're moving in the right direction. That's a 7% swing in 2 years. Clearly, there's agreement that what we're doing is correct. Level of support for the development of key amenities. And this is a percentage of respondents who rated the item 1 to 4 on a 4-point scale. Notice that number 3 is increased community participation for Missouri Western State University. You'll notice that that's more important to what people were saying in terms of new housing developments, the riverfront, or even the infamous I-2029 bridge, right? So we had increased community support, very supportive. Only existing park maintenance and Krug Park development ranked more important in terms of what should be done. Satisfaction with the Community Alliance partners. You'll notice that Missouri Western is number 3 on this list. We are ranking just below the 139th Airlift Wing and United Way of Greater St. Joseph. This says that 51% of the people who responded are satisfied or very satisfied with our partnership with the Community Alliance, which is designed to grow prosperity in our community. Notice who we are ahead: Mosaic Life Care, the CVB, the Chamber of Commerce, Buchanan County, the City of St. Joseph, and no surprise, the school district. So the support for what we're doing by working in the Community Alliance is also growing. Here's something I wanted to share, given that I had just given you statistics about our law enforcement academy. Notice the overwhelming support in the community for what we are doing for our Grow Your Own program to put more law enforcement officers on the street. Clearly, we are moving in the right direction. And satisfaction with city amenities. Here the idea is how satisfied with you as a resident about what's offered. If you go to about the midpoint of this graph, you'll see university sports and other activities. 45% of the respondents said that they were satisfied or very satisfied with what we're doing. Very pleased to see that, because again, it shows satisfaction with what's going on at Missouri Western State University. Here's something I found rather interesting. Has anyone in your household attended Missouri Western State University now or in the past? Yes, currently attending is about 6%, but notice that 66% of the individuals said that they had attended in the past. That still leaves 28% who have not. That gives us some target information. I thought this was interesting. I wanted to share that. This has to do more with the demographics of our City of St. Joseph and Buchanan County. Highest level of education. You will see that when we looked at highest level of education, 32% reported a high school education or less, with 30% reporting having had some college, but not a degree. Only 21% of those reported having earned a college degree, and only 18 had earned a post degree. As we continue to move forward, our efforts to focus on the value-added proposition of a college degree are important. And where do we see that? When we look at the total annual household incomes. Note that 51% of the respondents reported incomes of $60,000 or less, with 22 reporting less than $30,000, and only 24% indicated an income of $60,000 to $99,000. I'd like governors just to consider the correlation between education and income. And if prosperity is what we want for St. Joseph, and it is, we need to improve our community's attainment. Last thing I wanted to share, efforts that we are really going in the right direction. This is the front page story that was on News Press Now on Thursday, June 15th edition. This is a quote from Central High graduate Allie Kimmerlin. She's a new Griffin. She's from St. Joseph. She decided against Northwest Missouri State University, and she told News Press Now that for her, it is vitally important that the community maintains a hometown university. And she says, once more people see what we have to offer, they'll want to come. It's a beautiful campus. This is an 18 to 19-year-old young woman who's making these statements. If what our message is not getting through to our community, I don't know what other evidence you would need to see it. This is truly, we are truly making a difference. So I thought that would be interesting to share with the governors. Community engagement as a measurement can be rather nebulous. However, these are two slices of data. And one represents 600 residents that were randomly surveyed, and the other one is from a Griffin students. And again, these are efforts that, this is evidence rather of everyone's efforts, not just mine, but everyone's efforts and the difference that we're making in our community. So in conclusion, our summer's off to a good start. We have many exciting events headed our way. And from everything we've heard from our cabinet members, as well as our student governor today, we know we will continue our work with dedication and strong commitment to our students and to strengthening our university and our mission of applied learning. And as I always like to conclude, Missouri Western State University is moving forward with clear direction and sure purpose. It's incredibly gratifying to have your support in these events. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any questions, governors? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. I think at this time we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll resume quickly.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to reconvene our Board of Governors meeting now.
Awesome.
And the next item on the agenda is report of the chair. It is now time for the election of officers for 2023, 2024. We will now hear their recommendations.
The nominating committee is pleased to recommend the following individuals as board officers for the 2023-2024 year. We have Rick Ebersold as chair, Lisa Norton as vice chair, Ron Olinger as interim treasurer of the board, and Betsy Wright as the secretary of the board.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed. The next board meeting will be Thursday, August 17th, 2023 at 1:30. Same location. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? There being no further comments or questions, a vote will be held to close the meeting pursuant to Missouri Statute 610.021, sections 1, 2, 3, and 13 to consider legal matters, real estate, personnel, and other matters protected by law. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We'll now go
Everyone-
into executive session. Oh,
Not yet. We're going to stay closed. We're going to stay closed. We'll do executive in a little bit. Okay.
thank
Okay.
you. Okay, the board meeting's back in open session. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel recommendations and other legal matters as presented in the closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion passed. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.